All right, welcome to yoga. It's morning time here. It may not be there. And this morning I want us just to start in a comfortable seat. So you can see that most of us are sitting on a block. And if you're at home, if you have an old phone book, if you still have those around, those are a nice thing to sit on, or a firm cushion off of your couch, or these are easy things that you can buy either off of our website or of course at local sort of drugstores. So we're going to start just with our legs, or our hands down onto our legs, and close your eyes. And allow for your shoulders to move down away from the ears. For a softness to just come over the legs, relaxing through the buttocks and the belly. You just settle into the moment. And sometimes the greatest gift you can give yourself, and even others, is simply space. Just touch your hands lightly together in front of your heart. May we aspire to create space in our body, in those tight crevices through the hips and the shoulders, even along the edges of the spine. And at the same time, may we also acknowledge the space that already resides within us. The spaces in which we can fill with love and compassion and understanding as to where we are in each day, in each moment, in each pose. And we'll start the class together with the sound of Om. We'll just do it once, keeping in mind there's just a few of us here, so it's already a bit weird. And there may only be just you at home. There are lots of different reasons as to why we chant the sound of Om. The first one being this inner vibration is very calming to our nervous system. And when we're working together as a group, it allows us to energetically and collectively come together as a group. So we'll start with a cleansing breath. Take a big inhale, please. And then exhale. And then inhale to begin softly. And gently release your hands and please open your eyes. You're going to come onto your hands and knees to begin. Just move the props to the side. And we'll actually start in a child's pose. So a quite comfortable child's pose with your knees wider than your hips and your big toes touching behind you. Great. So we have Kate over here. We have Stuart over here. And then Caroline. And Caroline is in her second trimester of her pregnancy. So she will be doing some modifications. And so just know that if you're sort of in the same boat, you can follow along with Caroline, understanding and listening to our body as we move along. So once we're in our child's pose, letting your hips descend, so letting them sink back towards the heels, you can actually relax your arms, so your elbows are resting on the floor, your forearms are relaxed. And then bring your attention in towards your breath, so we're directing the breath at this time. You're breathing in through your nose, and you're breathing out through your nose. Really allowing for there to be this spaciousness, or this quality of space within the body as you breathe. You should feel your ribs expand, your belly expand, the lungs fill up. And then at the same time, everything sort of draws back in as you exhale, like a warm embrace. Just spending simply a few moments here focusing on that. And taking this breath with us throughout our practice this morning, Stretching your arms a little further out in front of you now so the arms are straight as they'll be. And then press your palms down so the knuckles and the fingertips are included in that. Then on your next inhale, just come up onto your hands and knees, tuck your toes, and then lift your knees away from the floor for our first downward facing dog, also known as Adho Mukha Svanasana. Good. In our first downward facing dog, just taking your feet a little bit wider than your hips, putting a nice, big, generous bend into your knees. And keeping the generous bend in your knees, you're going to tilt your pelvis up into the air so the bones in your bum stick straight up. Nice. Then keeping that action, just relax the head between your arms as you gently press your chest towards your thighs. And take about 2 more breaths here, just sinking and settling into the space that's already being created. On your next inhale, please bend your knees and look forward. And then as you exhale, just step or walk your feet to the top of your mat, please. You'll place your hands on your shins. As you inhale, just look up across the room, and then exhale, bend your knees and fold over your thighs. And do that 2 more times. So inhale, straighten your legs and look up, and then exhale, bend your knees and fold. Last time, inhale, straighten and look up, and exhale, bend and fold. Keeping your knees bent and your upper body round, as you inhale, just roll through your spine and come up to standing. Good. You're going to circle your shoulders onto your back. Yes. Put a little bend into your knees, please. Shift your weight over into your left foot and then bring your right knee out in front of you. You'll interlace your fingers around your right shin. Now, what tends to happen when we pull our knee up towards our shoulder is that our hips thrust forward. And in this variation, we don't want it to thrust forward too much and hurt the lower back. So to begin, as you inhale, stick your bum out behind you. Press firmly and evenly down into your left foot, and now as you inhale, tug your right knee up towards your right shoulder, pulling your shoulders back and lifting your chin up. Yes, you can spread your toes on your right foot. Breathe in and out. It's usually a time where you can relax a little bit. One more breath. We're going to transition from our standing balance pose into a long lunge. So putting a deep bend into your left knee, releasing your right leg, and you're going to step as gracefully and as lightly as you can your right foot back. Yes, and then touch the fingertips down. Really nice. Go ahead. Keeping your right heel as strong, so pulling up over the toes. The back leg is as straight and as strong as the board. Take your right hand off of your mat. On your following inhale, take your left arm and stretch it all the way up into the air, please. Pull, just sort of tack the outer edge of your left hip back till you feel your inner thighs tone, and then turn more from the belly. Pull your shoulders back and turn your chest up. Yes, take a big breath here. And exhale, your left hand down. Good, walk your hands a little closer. And as you inhale, step forward. Good morning, Stu. Hands to your shins. Inhale, look up halfway. Bend your knees, exhale, round. Good, 2 more. Inhale, up halfway. Exhale, bend and round. Last time. Inhale, up halfway. Exhale, bend and round. Good, keeping the roundness to your spine as you inhale, roll back up to standing. Circle your shoulders back, lift your chest up. A little bend into the knees. Shift over to your right foot, lift the left leg up, please. Interlacing your fingers around your left thigh. On your following inhale, leaning, sticking your bum out, leaning forward a little bit. Keeping that action as you press evenly down into the right foot and now tug the left knee towards the left shoulder. And breathe. Just noticing the difference on this side. We are asymmetrical. We will always be asymmetrical. Sort of working towards the differences not being as extreme. Good, you're gonna soften the grip on your left leg. Put a big bend into the right knee. And then from here, step as gracefully and as lightly as you can the left foot back. Yes, good, and then fingertips down. Take once again your left hand off of your mat. As you inhale, reach your right arm all the way up. Keep drawing both of the arm bones back, so the tops of the arm bones, your shoulders in other words. Keeping that action, pull the outer edge of your right hip back. Turn your chest towards the sky and breathe. One more. As you exhale, release the right hand down. Bring both of your hands in a little closer and press your palms firmly into the ground. As you inhale, step back, plank pose. Come right to the tips of your toes, so cantilever your chest forward, please, and then as you exhale, lower down onto your belly. You're gonna point your toes behind you, and as you inhale, you're gonna lift up into your cobra pose. Yes, keep pressing the pubic bone down, and then exhale back to your belly. Good, tuck your toes underneath with a big inhale, push up to your downward facing dog. And then exhale once you're there. Good, settling into our down dog holding. So breathing in through your nose and breathing out. When I'm in my down dog recently, I've been thinking of the actions of pulling my thighs back, my upper thighs that is. And just notice how that, when you take into that concept of pulling my upper thighs towards the wall behind me, how that changes your downward facing dog. And for me, I'm finding it creates a spaciousness in my fronts of my hips, my hip flexors. Let's take one more breath here. As you inhale, please bend your knees deeply and look forward. And as you exhale, step, walk, or jump if you'd like to the top of your mat. Yeah, hands to your shins. Inhale, look up halfway. Exhale, bend your knees and fold. Good, coming right up to standing, this time with a long spine. So as you inhale, lift your chin up, stretch your arms in front of you, and then rise all the way up. Good, exhale, release your hands down through heart center. I feel very tall here. All right, so again, bend into the knees a little bit. Shift your weight to the left foot. This time you're gonna bend your right knee so your heel comes towards your buttocks and reach with your right hand for your right ankle. So working with balancing today, that's pretty obvious, hey? Squeeze your inner thighs towards each other. Start to pull your right heel towards your bum. Now, keeping these actions, at the same time, push the front of your pelvis forward, kind of like a playful hip thrust. Yes, your left hand can rest on your hip, or you can even reach behind you, sort of holding the right elbow. Either way, draw your shoulders back and lift through the chest as you breathe into your nose, and breathe out. Breathe in, and out. Last one. Again, we're going to step back into our lunge. So release your left arm from the right side, bend deep into the left knee. Release the right foot, but don't let it touch the floor yet because you're going to reach as gracefully and as lightly as you can the right foot back, and then fingertips down. Good job. Lower your right knee down. Take a breath in and out. Nice long stance with your legs, so everyone's doing a great job. And then from here, point your right toes, please. Yeah, we're gonna start with some isometric movements. So we're gonna gather the muscles together and stretch them effectively. So pressing your left foot firmly and evenly down into the ground. Push the top of your right foot into the ground until the knee lifts. Yeah, so it's not a matter of lifting the knee, it's actually a matter of pushing the foot down so much that the knee lifts. So it's not a big lift to the knee. Now keep these actions, and now I want you to energetically drag your left foot and your right foot towards each other. Oh my goodness, do you feel your hip flexors? You should immediately feel your hip flexors. Then everyone lift your chest up. So it's like you're pulling like the dead weight of your leg back in. The lift through the chest will help lower through the pelvis. Take one more breath. And then exhale, relax. Oh, I know, just when you think it's over, it's not yet. So bring your hands now to the inside edge of your left foot. Yeah, and then walk your hands forward a little bit. So now a more static stretch. So you can either just stay here, sort of letting the pelvis descend towards the floor, or you can come to the forearms. I know, right? There you go. Yes, blocks are allowed. You can use blocks too. And then breathe into your nose and breathe out. So in the last pose, when we engaged the muscle, it allowed us to pull a little bit more on the tendon, which attaches to the bone, and allowed us to stretch that muscle a little bit more effectively. And now we're actually wanting to relax the muscle a bit, let the tissues settle, and allow us to move deeper into the connective tissue, the fascia. And it'll feel a little bit different, and you may even feel a little more space, as the two together are this beautiful relationship, like yin and yang, like masculine and feminine. Let's take 2 more breaths here. On your next inhale, if you're on your forearms like Kate is, then come up onto your hands or move your props to the side there, Stu. Then tuck your right toes, and as you inhale, step forward. Oh yes, moaning, groaning, all allowed. Hands to your shins with a big inhale, look up, pull the thighs back. Exhale, bend your knees and round. Good, come up with a long spine. Lift your chin up, inhale, stand up, stretching your arms over your head. Reach through the fingers, please. And exhale your hands through heart center. A little bend to the knees. Just notice how I always like that sort of little tip. You just feel sort of this heaviness in the body. Grounded, in other words. Shift to the left, to the right. Bend your left knee. Reach behind you with your left hand for your ankle. I like the ankle more than the foot, as if you just hold the foot, you can kind of sickle the ankle, and that'll hurt the hip and the knee. As you pull your left heel towards your left bum cheek now, press the front of your pelvis forward. So again, it's like that playful hip thrust. Then keeping that action, lengthen the knee towards the floor, pull your shoulders back, and then take the right hand either to the hip or behind the lumbar spine. And then of course, breathing skillfully like everyone has been doing so well. Last one. Good. Releasing your right hand either to the side or onto your hip. Softly releasing your left foot, and now bend to the right knee as you step your left foot back gracefully and lightly. There you go, and then fingertips to the floor, please. And from here, lower your left knee to the ground. Good, take a breath, inhale, and exhale. Point your left toes back behind you, please. Press evenly down into your right foot. So all 4 corners are rooted. Keeping that action, now push your left foot, the top of your left foot into the ground so much that your left knee lifts a few inches away from the floor. Now keeping those actions, push both feet down and drag energetically the feet towards each other. Oh my goodness, until you feel the fronts of your thighs engage, holy moly. And then pull your shoulders back and lift your chest up. Yes, breathe. So again, we're dragging particularly that back leg in. And as we drag it in, we're engaged in the muscle and then stretching. So it's a nice, long, lean muscle. Yes, one more. It can be really intense. And exhale, release the knee down. Oh, isn't that crazy? I love that pose though. All right, bring your hands to the inside edge of your right leg. Good, this might be as far as you go, that's okay. If you want to go a little bit further, maybe just walk the hands out, or if you can, come to your forearms like Kate's demonstrating. And then we soften. So you actually let the pelvis descend. You should almost feel like the legs are being pulled out of the hip sockets, creating this lovely space. And breathing in and breathing out. And breathing in and breathing out. Good. Soften your jaw, soften your upper back. 2 more breaths. As you inhale, please come back up onto your hands or move the props to the side. And then walk your right foot in a little bit closer so your hands can be on either side of your right foot. Then lift your left knee and now step back to your plank pose. Once on your plank pose, you're going to shift right to your big toes and cantilever your chest past your wrists. Then as you exhale, lower slowly onto your belly unless you're pregnant, and then come to your knees. Good. Point your toes. Press your pubic bone down, and then inhale, lift your head and your chest up. Good, pull your shoulders back away from the ears, please, and then exhale back to your belly. Tuck your toes underneath with a big inhale, push up to your downward facing dog, and just let out a little sigh here. Then holding our down dogs, hands and feet are rooted, sit bones are high, and you're pulling those thighs back. And as you bring your attention into the body and into the breath, let your attention linger just a little longer on that space between your inhalation and your exhalation. And just notice your experience when you pause in that moment. Take one more breath. On your following inhale, please bend your knees and look forward. And as you exhale, step, walk, or jump lightly to the top of your mat. On your next inhale, hands to your shins, look up across the room, please, and then exhale to fold. Coming up with a long spine, so lift your chin up, stretch your arms over your head, stand tall, reach through the fingertips, please, and exhale your hands to heart center. Good. One of my favorite poses, tree pose. So point with a little bend to the left knee, point your right toes out in front of you, and then like a ballerina, sort of pivot from the hip, the inside edge of the foot towards the ceiling. And then pull your foot back so your right heel rests on the side of your left ankle. And this is the first place you can stay, just simply here. Second option is to come below your knee on the side of the calf. And the last option, a little more challenging, is above the knee on the inner thigh. And of course, choose what's most appropriate for you today. You can bring your hands together in front of your heart. We call this Anjali Mudra. And have even pressure, right foot into the left leg and vice versa, left into right. Breathing in and breathing out. Balancing postures like this help create a sense of focus and clarity. I teach yoga in corporate offices, and I'm always teasing that they should do tree pose before a big meeting. Good, keeping this even pressure from foot to thigh and vice versa. Stretch your arms up over your head, and you can be very symmetrical with the hands up or palms together. You can be a bit playful, maybe asymmetrical. Spreading our fingers and our toes helps connect us to our core muscles, so it helps us balance. So spread those fingers wildly. Breathing in. Good, keep opening the right knee off towards the right side and take 2 more breaths. Bring your hands back down in front of your heart, please. A little bend into your left knee as you take your right leg out in front of you. Whew. Yes, and just like we have all class, bend into the left knee deeper. Now step your right leg gracefully and lightly back behind you. Oh, yes. And then release the hands down. This time, bring both of your hands to the inside edge of your left foot, and then pivot around to face the side of your mat. Yeah. Take a moment to look at your heels. So have your heels in line with each other or the back edge of your mat. Have your feet slightly pigeon-toed. So when you look down from this angle, they'll be slightly turned in. And then put a little bend in your knees. And as you inhale, squeeze your shins towards each other. Good, keep your knees wide as you now pull your thighs back like you do in your down dog. Take another inhale, and now as you exhale, fold your head down between your legs. Come up onto the blocks and just focus on your legs for a few breaths. Yeah, so squeeze your shins in and then keep pulling the thighs back. Yeah. Breathing into your nose. And breathing out. So just as much as you squeeze your legs towards each other, at the same time press down through the soles of your feet as if the bones of your legs were going to get longer. How cool would that be? Breathe in and out. Last one. On your next inhale, please take your hands up onto your hips, lift your shoulders up, lift your chin up, and then as you inhale, stand all the way back up. Yes, put a big bend into your knees and now jump your feet back together. Oh, hello. And then turn to face the top edge of your mat. Good job. So tree pose, other side. Bend into the right knee, point your left foot out in front. And again, don't just turn the foot, rotate the whole leg. So the leg externally rotates so the inside edge of the foot points towards the ceiling. Then pull your heel back so it rests on the ankle, or take it to any of the other places. So ideally you want to do whatever you did on the other side on this side, avoiding the knee joint, of course. Taking your hands at heart center whenever you're ready. Staying with the breath as you press evenly left foot into the right leg and vice versa. Even imagine your tailbone extending down towards the floor as you inhale and lift your chest up. On your following inhale, please stretch your arms over your head, maybe exactly the same way you did on the other side, or a little different. Choice is yours. This is sort of a beautiful little cheater wall. I can hold on to it. One more as you are. And as you inhale, gather your hands back together over your head and then down in front of your heart. Take one more breath here, really widening that left knee to the side. And then putting again the bend into the right leg. As you inhale, lift the left leg up. And as you exhale, as gracefully and as lightly as you can, step the left foot back and touch your fingertips down. Good job. Yeah, you made it. See, wiggling, wobbling. Sometimes the wind blows hard, one side than the other. Now turn your hands, take your hands to the inside edge of your right foot, and again, pivot your feet and turn to face the side of the mat. And you just take a millisecond. I don't even think there is such a thing, but you take a very brief moment to line your heels up with each other and slightly turn the toes in. A little bend to the knees so you can really start to engage the muscles, and we do that by pushing the feet down and then dragging your feet towards each other. Keeping those actions, pull your thighs towards the back wall so the thighs are moving away from your belly. And then of course release your head down towards the ground. Then breathe into your nose. And breathe out. Breathe in and out. One more, just as you are. We're going to add on just slightly in this pose to take it a little bit deeper from side to side. So on your following inhale, keep your legs this strong, but now walk your hands towards your right foot. Walk your hands towards your right foot. Good, again, pause, squeeze your legs together, pull your thighs back, stick the booty out. Keeping that action, now turn your belly towards the right leg and start to fold over your thigh. Yes, really good. If you want to, sometimes we like to hold on to certain areas of our body. It'll help us pull a little deeper, and that's fine. You can grab for the outer edge of the shin or the outer edge of the foot. What we want to be mindful of is when we do that, when we hold on to something and pull ourselves closer, we have to have the muscles of the legs engaged. Because when we pull, if we pull too hard and the muscles aren't engaged, then you can actually hurt yourself. It's when yoga gets a bad rap. Good. Inhale, come back to center, please. Again, squeeze the legs, and exhale, of course, the left side, the inevitable. So you're walking your hands towards the left leg. And maybe you don't go far, maybe just walk in that direction, you feel the stretch and you linger there. If you can go a little bit further, then you walk the hands maybe towards the edge of the foot. As you inhale, pull the belly in that direction, and then as you exhale, start to pull yourself towards that left leg. And of course, breathe in through your nose and breathe out through your nose. And breathe in and out. Just one more. Good job. As you inhale, come back to center, please. This time you're going to bend your knees quite deeply and turn to face your right foot. So pivot your hands, pivot your feet, so you turn back to face the middle of, or the top of your mat. Then plant your palms, please, and step back as you inhale to plank pose. Shift your weight forward onto the tips of your toes and then exhale to your belly, unless you're pregnant and Caroline will come to her knees. As you inhale, point your toes, root your pubic bone, and lift your head and your chest up, please. Draw your shoulders away from your ears and exhale back to your belly. Tuck your toes underneath with a big inhale, push up to your downward facing dog or your child's pose. So if you're feeling fatigued at this time, taking child's pose is a nice option. Maybe letting out a big sigh. Settling here. Last one. As you inhale, please bend your knees deeply and look forward. And as you exhale, step, walk, or jump lightly to the top of your mat. Yes, hands to your shins with a big inhale, look up halfway. And exhale, fold. Lifting your chin up as you inhale and rise up, stretching your arms up over your head, please. And exhale your hands in front of your heart. Good, so our last standing balancing pose. Are you sick of balancing yet? And hands to your hips. So you bend your knees quite deeply this time. So you're almost building a little shelf with your upper thighs. Then take your right, so shift over to the left foot, take your right ankle and place it on top of your left thigh. Yeah. Keeping your right foot flexed is important. It will keep the integrity of your knee and let the stretch reside in your hip, which is where we want it to be. Touch your hands in front of your heart center, please. And as you inhale, lift your chest towards your thumbs. And as you exhale, like you're sitting back in a chair, sit your bum back and start to lower your chest towards your shin. And really just go to that place where you feel sort of that deep stretch in the bum and the side of your hip. And breathing in, of course, and out. And push down to your left foot, and as you inhale, rise all the way back up. As you rise up, bring your right knee towards your chest, and as you exhale, step your right foot gracefully and lightly back behind you. Place the fingertips down for your lunge. Good. Now plant your palms and please step back to your downward facing dog. Yes, good. Take a big inhale and exhale. We're going to come from here into pigeon pose, so please your right leg up into the air behind you. And as you exhale, bring your right knee wide towards the outer edge of your right wrist and lower your shin down on the ground. Good, so when you look at your front foot, so some people naturally have quite an open ability in the hips. By the way, that's not me. My body just went, why are you doing that? That's really deep. But if you can get to a full 90-degree angle in your front leg, then the foot would be flexed. For me this morning, I would prefer to be back a little further with my toes pointed. And again, we're looking at the foot to help create integrity in the knee so that this can be a hip stretch, not a knee stretch. The knee does not appreciate these types of stretches. So be mindful of your foot. If you're at 90, flex it. And if you're not, point it. So the toes, the ankle, and the knee are in this beautiful long plane. Now stretch. Everyone's doing really well because I gave a good lecture, right? And you're going to stretch your left leg further back behind you. Go longer, and then rest on your forearms. Because I love these guys. And sometimes it's nice just to soften. And even though it's a more static posture, we're a little more passive as we sort of melt down towards the ground, just come back to your breath and let the focus just simply be on the breath. I'm just gonna move your leg a little bit. I would even tuck your toes underneath, just to help keep your shin in a bit. And breathing in and breathing out. It's really common in this particular stretch that you want to lean more to one side than the other side. So for instance, on this side, you would want to lean more to the right. I actually want you to resist that a bit. Let your hips descend at the same rate. So you're not leaning to one side or the other. And breathing in and out. Let's do 2 more like that. On your following inhale, come back, plant your beautiful hands on the floor. You're going to tuck your back toes and push back to your downward facing dog. And feel free to stretch your right leg up or wiggle it or shake the hips or the bum, sort of release any of that tension. Sometimes a dramatic sigh is nice too. Just take one more breath. And then as you inhale, bend your knees deeply and look forward. And as you exhale, step, walk, or jump lightly to the top. With your hands on your shins, as you inhale, look up halfway, please. And exhale, round and fold. Coming up with a long spine, so as you inhale, lift your chin up, stretch your arms over your head, reach through your fingers, please. And exhale your hands down in front of your heart. Good. You can place the hands on your hips just to begin. Bend deeply into your knees. Again, pressing evenly into your feet. And then take your left ankle and place it on top of your right thigh. Yeah, and then let's bring our hands back in front of our chest. Remember, keeping your left foot flexed so the knee is safe and the stretch is in the hip. As you inhale, lift your heart towards your thumbs. Keep that as you exhale, stick your bum out, and like you're sitting back in a chair, come down. And we are asymmetrical, remember, so this side's gonna feel different. Just be okay with that. Welcome it. You're lingering right in that little tight spot on the side of the hip or up to the bum, the glute. Take one more. As you inhale, very mindfully, come back up to a standing position. Lift your left knee up. And then as you exhale, gracefully and lightly step your left foot back. Place the fingertips down, please. And then plant your palms. Then step back, downward facing dog. Of course, the inevitable, right? Let's do pigeon pose on the left side. So as you inhale, lift the left leg up, get a bit of momentum as you sweep the left knee towards the outer edge of the left wrist and lower your shin down. Really nice. And stretch your right leg as far back behind you and just taking that little brief moment to look at your left foot. So is it flexed because I'm at 90? Is it pointed to stay integrity with the knee? Then once you've sort of trekked off all your little yoga lists, then you come down to your forearms. Rest your head and breathe deeply. And again, bringing your attention into your body, into the breath. I use a lot of visualization in my own personal practice. And it's nice to do the same if you're up for that. If that's something you like to do, you can take your attention into the breath and then start to direct the breath down the torso towards the area that you're feeling the most tension. So maybe through the side of the hip, the IT band, iliotibial band, maybe up to the glute muscle, gluteus maximus or minimus. And a lot of the times I will include a color. So a lot of the times I find myself resonating to the color blue. And so I'll imagine sort of like this blue goo drawing down my body in towards the area that's feeling tight. You can almost imagine that like that icy cool glue. And then as it comes down to that area where I'm feeling the most tension, it's soothing. Just releasing that sort of that burning sensation, releasing that tightness, and really creating space. And maybe for you it's more of an air quality, or maybe for you it's not really a color or a texture at all, but just knowing that you have the ability to make space in the body. Got about 2 more breaths here. Last one. As you inhale, please come back up onto your hands. And this time you're actually going to lean over onto your left hip and sweep your right leg out in front of you. And you can actually just sit comfortably to begin. So maybe sit in Siddhasana in sort of easy pose with the heels in front of each other. You can cross the ankles if you prefer, or do sitting on a block. Good, and then we're going to stretch our arms out in front of us. We haven't given much attention to our upper body yet, so let's take a few moments to do that. Kind of like you're hugging a tree. Oh, tree. And then pull your shoulders back into the sockets. So now your chest is lifted. Keeping your shoulders back in the sockets, turn your palms forward. Yes. And now you can start to straighten the arms. So you're actually pushing the palms forward, but don't let the shoulders come out of the sockets. Keep the shoulders back even as you straighten the arms. Lengthen your tailbone down, so push down into your bum. And as you inhale, lift now your hands over your head. Oh. I'm always amazed at how challenging this pose is when you're sitting down. It's so much different. But we want to use the actions of rooting down into our hips and our bum and our legs to help us stretch up through the palms. Two more. Last one. Good. Put a little bend into the elbows, but keep the arms up. And as you exhale, release just the right hand down. Yeah, you'll turn your left palm to face towards the top of your head. As you inhale, walk your right hand away from you. And as you exhale, bend into the right elbow and just stretch out through the left fingertips. So you're actually reaching the left fingers towards the opposite side. Breathe in and breathe out. So if you're feeling any tingling sensations in that left arm, because we've had it over our head for a while, then don't feel bad if you need to bring the arm back and then come back. You want to feel a stretch up along the sides of your body. Take one more breath. As you inhale, rise all the way back up, and then exhale to release the left arm down. Walk your left hand away from you, stretch the right arm up. As you inhale, reach through the fingertips, and as you exhale, bend to the left elbow and then reach to the left side. Good, you want to lift your chin slightly away from your chest, either gazing forward, keeping the neck neutral, or looking underneath the right arm. Breathe in and out. Last one. As you inhale, rise all the way back up, and then exhale, release the hands. Good, we're gonna come down onto our backs. So you can plant your feet on the floor and just lie down. Maybe even scoot your bum a little closer to the top edge. Yes, relax for a moment. Let your knees knock in towards each other. Let your hands rest along the sides of your body. Take a few breaths. It's always my favorite part when we start to do supine poses. So we'll do a bridge pose. So you want to have your feet about hips distance apart. Of course, figuring that out, especially if you're at home by yourself, sort of the best of your abilities. And with that, you also want the feet to be straight. So again, I'm here to sort of help correct this crew, and you just sort of do the best as you can at home. And then turn your palms to face up towards the ceiling, please. You're going to lift your chin slightly away from your chest and push gently the back of your head into the floor. So now we're keeping that natural cervical curve. Keeping these contact points, your head, your shoulders, and your feet evenly down. As you inhale, start to lift your hips up. As your hips start to rise up, draw your shoulders. It will feel instinctive to want to bring your shoulders in a little closer. And you can see sort of a rocking from side to side is a nice way of doing that. Then think less of how high can I thrust my hips up and think more of how much can I root down into the floor. So keep pushing, feet, shoulders, head down. If your shoulders feel open enough, you can actually start to take your hands underneath you and interlace your fingers under your back. I'm going to give Stu a little adjust, which I know you're going to appreciate. Oh, isn't that better? Hello. Breathe in and breathe out. Breathe in and out. Got a few more. Good. Last one. Then just softly release your hands, soften the buttocks, and come all the way back down. Sort of letting your bum lead. So when you come down, your lower back's in a neutral position. So it's not touching the floor. You have a bit of a curve to the lower lumbar spine. Relax and breathe. And stretch your left leg straight out onto the floor. And as you inhale, pull your right knee towards, just lightly towards your chest. We're going to come into a reclining twist. So now take your right knee all the way over to the left side. Right knee all the way over. So much that your knee touches the floor. Yes, and then move your bum back a few inches towards the right side. Move your bum back a few inches to the right side. From here, the last refinement is turning your shoulder in the socket, rotating it up and back, and bringing that shoulder back to the floor. So that may mean your knee lifts a bit to accommodate the shoulder, and that's okay. And of course, looking over your right shoulder if your body will allow. And breathe into your nose. And breathing out. And breathing in. And out. Let's take one more breath as we are. And then looking back towards the ceiling, and as you inhale, rolling back to center. You can square your hips off as you change legs, so you'll stretch your right leg straight, and then gently bring your left knee in. Good, of course, doing the other side, so when you're ready, as you inhale, take your left knee all the way over to the right side until the knee touches the floor. And then from there, scooching your hips, very technical term, scooching back towards the left side. Good. Then from there, circling your right shoulder onto your back. So the shoulder comes down. And again, that may mean we adjust the knee. The knee lifts to accommodate the shoulder, and that's okay. That's what I want. And then looking over your left shoulder if your neck feels okay. And coming back to the breath. And coming back to the body and to this moment. The space in which you've already created. The space in which that is always there. For you to choose, what are you going to fill that space with? Will it be positive, reaffirming thoughts? And positive attitude and outlook on life? Or will you choose to fill that space with sort of unnecessary limiting concepts of ourselves and of our lives? Just recognizing that we have choices in those moments. Take one more breath. And then from here, you'll turn your head back to center and come back onto your back. You can square your hips off. And we'll move right into Shavasana. Yay! If you do need a last particular pose, like you want to hug your knees in, or you need to sort of fidget a little bit before you do that, then just go ahead. When you're ready for Shavasana, just stretching your legs out, letting them be a little bit wider than your hips. You can turn your palms to face up towards the ceiling. Let the shoulders descend, the head descend, the jaw relax. Then take a long inhale through your nose. You're going to be a bit dramatic here as you open your mouth and sigh it out. Let's do that one more time. Just truly giving yourself permission to relax. Really, the doorway into this part of relaxation resides in your eyes. So bring your attention to the space between your eyelids. Not your upper lid or your lower lid, but the space between. Relax. Come back to the space between your eyelids. Not your upper lid or your lower lid, but the space between. Relax. Very softly start to bring your attention back into your body. You can do this by deepening your breath. Then some little movements back to your fingers and to your toes, please. Even turn your head a bit from side to side. And when you're ready with a big inhale, you're going to stretch your arms up over your head. Point your fingers away, point your toes away, get as long as you can, even hold for a moment. And then exhale to relax. Good, walk your feet in, bend your knees. And roll to the right side. You'll just rest for a few breaths in fetal position. Your arm can be under your head like a little pillow, your chest turned down. We'll make the full circle journey from here up to a seated position. So just push down into the ground and come back up to a seat. Just like we did when we began, sit comfortably. So that may mean sitting on a block if that's something that's for you. And with your eyes closed, come full circle back into your body. Recognizing if there are any shifts or changes that have occurred from when you began to now. If those tighter areas have dissolved. And touch your hands lightly together in front of your heart. Sometimes the greatest gift we can give ourselves and even others is simply space. So whether that is taking a moment quietly to sit with yourself, or whether that's time here on your mat to create the space we desire in our body. Either way, will you give yourself that gift? And bow your head humbly to you and your efforts here today, of course to each other as a group. Thank you for coming, each of you. From my heart to yours. Namaste.